Save me. Hello?
Hey, is this Tim?
Hi, Christina. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you again for being so flexible with this. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem.
Awesome. Well, I have Joe on the other line, so I can go ahead and patch you over to him whenever you're ready.
We're ready.
All right. Cool. 1 sec. Hey, Joe. You're on the line with Tim from No Cover.
Okay, cool. Hey, Tim.
Hey, what's up, Joe? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just getting the magazine together for this upcoming month. But everything's going good, man.
Nice.
You guys,
cool.
You guys are in Mexico today?
We are, yeah. We had a day off yesterday, and we play a show tonight, and then we fly to Costa Rica tomorrow for one last show, and then we go home.
Nice. Well, we're here talking about the new album. That's what we want to definitely push in No Cover. So what I'm curious about is I want to know about this new album. Has the state of our country had any impact on the writing of the new album?
Yeah, it's interesting because we started this process of writing the new record pre-election, and all signs were pointing to Hillary Clinton winning, and we thought we were about to have the first female president, which would have been a milestone for the United States. And so I know Tim had written lyrics to like a couple of the songs, and then Trump got elected, and it definitely made us shift gears a little bit. And that's not to say we felt obligated to write this ultra political record, but at the same time, what could have been taken as maybe a little bit more lighthearted, lyrics, it didn't have any more meaning. So Tim had to rethink the direction of some of the ideas in these songs. And yeah, so I mean, when we woke up to him winning, we were like, oh wow, this is interesting, and it's kind of like, I don't think we as a band weren't really prepared to kind of face it. I didn't believe it for a week. I was like, there's no way this is wrong. But yeah, so we definitely had to rethink some of the lyrics, and it definitely inspired the title of the record, Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Do you feel, and not to, I'm not a political guy. It's just because we're on this route. I don't want you to think I'm going to drag you down a political interview, because I'm definitely not what we're about. But just out of curiosity, more. Do you feel that the state of how we live on a daily life in our country and in the world, do you feel that might have to change in our immediate future?
Well, that's interesting. This is something I was thinking about the other day, where you have this egotistical rich 1%er running the country who's completely out of touch with lower class, middle class. He has no idea what it's like to get his hands dirty. What I do feel like is it's, and maybe this doesn't really answer your question directly, but it's making the country band together. So maybe not so much rethinking the way we live, but definitely the way we treat people. Because he just, the things he says. I would like to think it's making people treat people better. Realize we're all in this together, and not so you're on this side, I'm on this side. It's like, well, no, we're all dealing with this same problem. This liar is running the country, and it's like, hopefully we can get him out before he burns every bridge, permanently. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing the way I just read. There was a tape released when he was firing James Comey, and the way he's talking on this tape to everyone in this room is mind blowing. He's so fucking rude. And I mean, and it makes you realize, like, this is how this guy carries himself, and he doesn't think anything of it. He treats people like shit. So not to be long-winded, but at the same time, I like to think this is going to make people band together and treat people with a little bit more respect.
Yes, I definitely agree with you 100%. Another thought I had while processing, it's a lot to process, because we haven't America hasn't really had this struggle before. Do you feel that we, as a complete society, have lost track of what really matters, and that's human life? And we're more, because when you see all, for social media, everyone has a line, and they stick to that side. And it seems that more people are more interested in what side they're on, and if their side is right, than they actually care about what really matters, and it's human existence and the longevity of our species.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are definitely distractions like that where the majority of people lose sight. They don't think of a bigger picture. They think about what is directly affecting their own life. And I get it. I mean, that makes total sense. It's kind of like, that's how people survive. People have, in general, that you have families to worry about. You try to put your kids through school, but at the same time, there's definitely a bigger picture that is going to affect their kid. Like I have 3 children. Like, it's going to affect my 3 kids' futures. With the funding school programs and things like that. People need to think about that on a bigger scale. But it's difficult. I mean, it's tough to unlearn what we're raised to know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's how we were raised. That's how my mom was great raising me, but at the same time, we just looked within our own household. My mom wasn't like globally thinking. I mean, she didn't even. This sounds ridiculous, but we were raised like she didn't even recycle growing up. When we were growing up, it's like that's easy to do, but it just wasn't on her radar. Like, she was just trying to get by. So yeah, I mean, I think people need to kind of take a look at what they know.
Awesome. You bring up your family. I was curious, how is it going on tour? Is it something that you're like, oh my goodness? Because I'm a family guy, and recently, we had to do something in Vegas, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna bring the family. But when I'm doing, my work, I feel so guilty, So the question is it more of a vacation for you when you're away, or do you have that guilt hanging on to you? And if so, how do you cope?
I mean, it gets harder the older my kids get, because they, it's like my oldest is 8 years old. I have an 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and my son is almost 4. My youngest is almost 4 years old. And when my oldest started, when he was able to talk on the phone, and I mean, I always feel guilty leaving, but at the same time, that's how I support my family. So the more I'm gone, the more I can provide for that. It's kind of fucked up, but it's really hard to do. But we try to balance a good tour schedule that accommodates being home for longer periods of time. But yeah, it's hard. And then you try to FaceTime, and the kids are fighting for the phone, and then one of them ends up hanging up on me, and it's like anarchy. And then. Yeah. And then my wife is, she's trying to kind of keep it together on this like schedule, which it's hard to do. Like, and then they still have to focus. They have homework to do. But yeah, it's definitely like, it's difficult. So I'm always struggling with feeling with the guilt, and then at the same time with, kind of keeping the band going and trying to tour and not lose momentum. That's the key. That's the struggle,
For sure. But there's nothing like, when you're gone for a couple months and you walk through that door and you drop all your bags and all those kids come running to you, you know, and the dogs, and
Yeah,
that's definitely one of the best feelings on earth.
absolutely.
How do you personally feel about this album? You know, of course, good or bad, not really, but more of like, where does this lie inside of you as not really a personal accomplishment, but as progress?
You know, I'm sorry, what was that last bit? You said not as a personal accomplishment, but as what?
As progress as an artist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I absolutely love Wolves. I think that what I'm most proud of is there is a progression, meaning I feel like we become better songwriters as the years go by, and you kind of learn what works and what doesn't work. But at the same time, there's an energy behind this record that I feel like is a little bit absent on Black Market. I like Black Market, but at the same time, I felt like it was, you know, it was a little, I don't know, like it kind of lacked this urgency that we had, you know, at the start of the band, you know, growing up in the punk hardcore scene and things like that. But Wolves, it's very present. There's definitely the sense of urgency is what I'm the most proud of, and it's definitely, like, to me, it's more of going back to basics, you know. That's the way I kind of look at it. I know maybe another band member might say something different, but to me, it's definitely more of a nod to our roots and keeping it a little bit more focused and keeping the songs moving forward, you know.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. This is more for people who are, you know, who are in, because our audience is genuinely, you know, people who strive to be musicians or who really love music. So, what would you say that the major difference between Fat Records and Geffen is?
The major difference, I mean, I feel like, you go to an indie, to any major, there's way more pressure on you to kind of, quote-unquote, perform, you know. It's something we never really try to worry about, you know, because once you start worrying about it, then things become forced and not sincere, you know, like it's not natural, you know, like, so we just try not to think about it, and we've never had to demo for a major label ever. We just go and record records and hand it in, like, which is unheard of. You know, usually the label we hear demos, but we just do our thing. So these records would sound the same way whether they're on Stat, Epitaph, Virgin Records, you know, Interscope. But it's like it still Rise Against, and it's what we are just up to at that given moment.
Are you? Okay, I have like 8 different questions. I don't know. They're all trying to come out of my mouth at once. Sorry. All right. So the other day I saw a band called Bad Cop. Have you heard of these? It's all female band, and they're on Fat Records at the moment. Bad Cop.
Oh yeah. Bad Cop. I've never like seen them live, but yeah, I know who you're talking about for sure.
Yeah, I went to a show last Sunday, and it was ridiculous. They are such a great live band. And when I was doing research for you guys, I was like, oh, Fat Records. And I just had to bring them up. If you're, you know, they're a pretty good punk band.
They're definitely a good pop punk band for sure. Yeah. I would love to see them live, but yeah, like I like that, you know, they kind of branched out over the years and they're able to sign bands like that, you know, instead of bands like when I was growing up. Obviously my old band was on Fat 88 Fingers Louie and then, you know, Rise Against, but like, you know, there's definitely that Fat sound. It's good to see Fat branching out of that, you know.
Yeah.
That formula.
When's the last time you were inspired by another person's music?
Wait, I'm sorry. We'll say that one more time. My phone cut out a little bit.
When's the last time you were inspired by another artist's music?
Oh, let's see. It's like, it's interesting. Like it's always hard for me to answer. Like I'm kind of all over the map, because what inspires me is maybe an older record that I kind of rediscover. You know, that's what I kind of draw inspiration from more times than not. Like you know, there are a couple songs on Wolves. It might not be so present to like the listener, but there are definitely a few songs that were inspired by The Cure, older REM, you know, things like that. And then there's definitely the punk rock side of me that I'm always inspired by DC hardcore, you know, that energy, and I never want to lose that, you know, in songs I write. So Bad Brains and Minor Threat. And it's kind of like I'll always come back to those records, you know, like if at some point, like if I feel like, you know, if I get a little bored with the state of music, I always go back to those old like hardcore records.
Yeah.
I do
the same thing.
I'm also, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a reminder of why I started playing bass, you know. So, but yeah, those influences are always there, and even Elvis Costello, he's also a huge influence on me. So I'll always kind of draw influence from. Maybe like I'll pick one of his records for like a month and I just kind of listen to it over and over again. But yeah, I'm kind of all over the map.
Do you hang out with CM Punk?
No, you know what? We've been in the same room so many times. I don't actually know him. I met him through Rancid, oddly enough, like a couple times, but we don't really like talk or anything, you know.
It really seems like you two would get along.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that, you know. You got, I mean, it's the straight edge thing, and you know, like the hardcore kind of roots. But yeah, like it's funny. Like we haven't really hung out.
That's we gotta look into that one, huh? What special recipes do you cook on the road? That's like your special go-to to get full.
You know, not really like recipes, but I mean, are you talking about like just food in general kind of thing?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that because my follow-up question to that would be your favorite spot to eat.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, I'm a coffee nerd, so like I have to have. Like I'm an iced latte guy, like always, and I always try to branch out when I'm on tour to find like a cool cafe that, you know, they roast their own coffee, things like that. But that's kind of like my go-to. I wake up and I go on the hunt for like a good cafe. So not really food related, but you know.
Was there anything good in Mexico, coffee-wise?
What's that?
Was there any good spots in Mexico for coffee?
Yeah, you know what? I did come across this article that was like top coffee cafes or top cafes in Mexico City. Literally, like while I was here yesterday, and I found this place called it's called like Chicatito or something like that, a cafe. But the guy who owns it is actually from Pittsburgh, and he roasts his own coffee. And for me, like, because I don't drink regular milk. I do almond milk, and it was really hard for me to find almond milk here. And when we were in South America, and they have really good almond milk, so I was like, oh wow. So yeah, I found this cafe that I've been going to, since yesterday. But yeah, like it's always cool, like to find places like that. You know, it's part of the adventure.
Yeah. Are you into sports?
I grew up skateboarding, so I'm way into skating. But I never really grew up watching team sports, to be honest.
I used to skateboard, and then I tried to ollie off of a curb, and I shattered my ankle. And, like, literally, it hurts me to look at a skateboard anytime I see it now. Because it just drives me back to that day when I, cracked my ankle, and it was the worst pain in my life.
Yeah, I think it's funny, like with skating, I mean, that's unfortunate. I knock on wood, I've never broken anything, but with falling in general, you definitely have to learn how to fall, like to avoid breaking. Like there's definitely like this learning curve. Like once you learn how to fall, then it makes it a lot easier. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it really helps.
I can figure it. And so maybe a few months later, after I healed up, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a rollerblader then. And then I smashed my butt bone. So I'm just, my balance is horrible.
You're not made to be on something that's rolling.
I'll just catch a ball and run. Do you play any games on your phone, like to pass the time?
You know what? I don't. I always download games. I never play them. I downloaded like the Super Mario game, Mario Run or whatever it's called, and I played it like a day and then I forget about it. But I'll play like Pac-Man maybe or Tetris or something like that once in a while. But yeah, I don't get too wrapped up in it. Like once I get hooked, then I'll know like I'll never put my phone down. So I try not to get tempted by anything.
Yeah. When you're trying to pass the time, do you do social media or maybe Reddit? Is there do you do any of that?
Yeah, like I'll I'll kind of go on like the band's Instagram account and kind of look at account like different other like Instagram accounts or whatever and see what's going on. But like I don't do Facebook or anything like that. But I think to pass the time, like I have like my news feeds that I kind of default to, like the Chicago. The Chicago Tribune, like the newspaper there, or things like that. Or I'll pick a book. I'll get involved in like certain books throughout the tour or whatever. But I try to like that's what I'll do. I'll go to a coffee shop and I'll read. Yeah.
Do you get bothered when you go to coffee shops?
No, not really. People, if I get recognized, people are usually pretty respectful. They'll say hi, and then they kind of like leave me to do whatever I'm doing. But yeah, it happens from time to time. That's kind of part of the job, I guess.
They just stare at you for the next 30 minutes.
Well, that's the weirdest thing. If I notice somebody staring at me, I'm like, I never know if it's because I'm in the band or if they just like they're just staring at me because there's I don't know for whatever reason. But like like that'll catch me up. I'd much rather have somebody come up to me and say hi instead of just staring at me.
Well, I mean, all right. So one time I was in a bar, right, and I was sitting at the bar, and I saw Robert Smith. And I swear, I didn't know if it was him or just a weirdo trying to dress like him. You know what I mean? And then, so I mean, literally, I don't move. Like my friends are doing their thing, and if I have a chance to meet Robert Smith, I'm gonna do it. And it ended up being him. And then when I ended up going and sitting by him, he like wanted to talk to me and everything. So. I don't know. Sometimes it can reach out to be. It can turn out to be something cool.
Yeah, see, that's awesome. I would love to meet Robert Smith. I'm jealous.
Yeah, he was real like he was flirty with me, and I wasn't sure if he was trying to like joke around or maybe that's his real deal. So I don't know. Not that I mind.
Yeah, I don't know. That's cool. You got to hang out with him.
Yeah. I wasn't really a good conversation guy at that time. I was young, I was like 22, 23, just being dumb. All right. My last question would be, is there anything on Netflix that you have gotten into lately?
I really like the Black Mirror.
My God,
I think
that is
kind of
awesome.
cool. Like, yeah, like it's like Twilight Zone, right, or something like that. Like, but I love that every episode's different and unrelated to the previous episode. Like, yeah, I like that. I like that show.
The one with where everyone's attached to the phone, and you have to rate people.
You know what? I haven't seen that one.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I keep jumping around from like all 3 seasons. I'll just like pick like an episode, a random episode, and watch it.
You got to see that one. That one's my favorite beyond. All right. Nice.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay. And is there anything you would like to say or address or anything you would like to be put in this article that we haven't yet touched on?
Nothing comes to mind. I mean, only just thanks for the support from all of our fans. Thanks for reading the article and from coming to our shows. Because without people coming to the shows, and we wouldn't. That's how we were able to tour. So just thanks for the support.
Nice. Well, Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I just appreciate the time that you've spent with us, and I wish you luck and stay safe, and get those families.
Thanks for the interview.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Have a good one. Bye. I think I may have called him the wrong name at the end, did I? You know how I am. An asshole. Always messing it up. I think I was just good. Alright, we're good. Okay, yeah, we're good. Alright. So that was that. That's pretty awesome. Red light, no cover. Red light, no cover. Red light, no cover. Red light, no